This next slide covers the mission benefits of our relocation to the facility on the Abbey campus. Our mission, again, is to form Christian men of conscience, discipline, and achievement. As we mentioned earlier, when Benedictine was first founded, the church and the school facilities and the monastery were all co-located in one facility. And there was good reason for that. It is easy to accomplish all of the aspects of our mission, faith, academics, military, and athletics, on one site. We've covered some of those logisticals and timeline issues earlier. Besides that, it allows us to enhance our academic program, one, because of some of the facilities offerings that we have at the Abbey campus, which I'll cover in a bit more detail, an expansion of our military leadership program, which currently offers something that no other school can offer in this area, and most schools around the country cannot offer. It's one thing to talk about leadership and instruct folks on how to be a leader, but it's something entirely different to be leading other young men on a daily basis. And at Benedictine, we have 72 leadership positions within the Corps, where individual cadets are responsible for managing, leading, and setting the example for other cadets on a daily basis. It allows us to expand that program by expanding the military options of the school. Our new commandant, Lieutenant Colonel Kevin Sickinger, who is an alum, graduate in 1981, has done a tremendous job of not only bringing back pride and self-discipline to the Corps, but also providing events for cadets to enjoy the Corps more. One of the things that we have done this year is introduced a Corps PT program in which the cadets participate in athletic and military competitions between companies on a monthly basis. And these are a lot of fun, and the cadets enjoy them. Colonel Sickinger has been very creative in using the limited space, the parking lot, and nearby parks in the museum district to accomplish the fun part of the military program. But obviously on a 50-acre site, those options for those competitive events, those fun events, are greatly expanded. And to improve our athletic facilities, we have the majority of our athletic facilities at the Abbey, which we will continue to develop in terms of providing for our basketball program and our wrestling program and others in a new field house that preserves the things we love about the Memorial Gym and expands our offering, as well as offering some new athletic programs, one that Father Adrian mentioned earlier, which the original Benedictine had, which was a crew team, and that is something we plan on bringing back to Benedictine with our access to the river from our existing dock on the James. Unification with the Benedictine monastic community. For the vast majority of our school's history, the monastery and the school were co-located, if not in the same building, then with the annex next to the academic building. And there is much to be gained from students being around monks on a daily basis. Benjamin Franklin said that well done is better than well said. I know many folks who tell me about how to lead a good life as a man, how to be a good father and husband and supporter of my brothers in the Christian community, but it's those that I'm around, which are quite fewer in number, who are living that life of faith, an example of proper manly behavior on a daily basis. It's those men that have the most influence on myself and most folks. Individuals in the monastic order are wonderful examples of leading that life of faith and reverence, and it is a great benefit to our students to be around them on a daily basis. This slide covers the growth benefits of the potential at the Abbey facility versus our current facility. Besides the simple fact of acreage difference, 50-acre campus versus a 2-acre campus, I think an important piece of data to recall is that which was part of an earlier study known as Vision 2012, which many of our members of the Benedictine community participated in a number of years ago. And one of the most important pieces of that study was one on the admissions aspect of the school. On average, every year we receive approximately 120 applications for students to Benedictine. Yet our average class size every year is in the mid-60s, sometimes a bit higher, sometimes a bit lower, which means approximately 60 students every year apply to Benedictine, yet they or their families make another choice for their high school, secondary education. A lot of folks think that our competitors are other major private schools in the Richmond area, like St. Christopher's and Collegiate. Yet the simple fact is that those are not really our competitors. When you look at the results of that study and our admissions on a yearly basis, the number of students who apply to Benedictine and choose those other private institutions, you can count on less than one hand. In recent years, the number of students who applied over a 2-year period yet chose one of those other schools previously mentioned is only 2 students. Our real competitors are public school, and the vast majority of those including schools like Godwin, Freeman, James River, and others located in the West End, closer to the Abbey, and on the other side of the river in the Midlothian area. There are some facts that, if you ask our admissions director, Greg Lilly, who does an outstanding job, that parents always ask about or include as factors in their decision. The first, which is always asked about, is student-to-teacher ratio. Now, there was a time in Benedictine's history when we had over 400 students in the school before the fire in the 80s. And in those times, the student-to-teacher ratio at Benedictine and many other schools was much higher, and that was acceptable in the education marketplace. But in today's marketplace, parents expect a significantly lower student-to-teacher ratio than can be found in public schools and other private schools, especially when they're paying a significant tuition. To maintain that type of student-to-teacher ratio, which we do currently at around 15.6 students per teacher, the limit on the number of students that we can accept at Benedictine at our current facility, academic facility, is approximately 310 students. When you look at what are major factors in those parents' decisions, one has been the perception of the military program in recent years, which has increased not only in its esprit de corps and self-discipline and pride, but in its perception in the community, that as well as increased academic rigor, which has been achieved over many recent years and continues to improve, it is likely, as we offer a better product, that we will be able to accept and retain more of those 120 average applicants per year. However, as mentioned earlier, we are limited in terms of our growth and how many students we can serve, given that student-to-teacher ratio at our current facility. That limit is somewhere around 310 students. At the Abbey facility, with significantly more classrooms and academic space, that limit, that enrollment cap, is increased significantly by approximately 200 students, which is significant. The next bullet, decreased pressure to raise tuition. We've done a good job at Benedictine of being very competitive in terms of our tuition compared to other schools in the area. That allows us to accomplish some other goals of our mission, which is, again, to accept students across the socioeconomic spectrum, to preserve the culture and climate of the school, which we all love and feel is better for our students, being more representative of the real world at large. However, given some of the widely publicized financial state of the school, given its current debt, which has been noted in many places at $2.7 million, it's logical to understand that maintaining the status quo of operating two facilities and continuing to try and diminish that debt and pay debt service, that the pressure to increase tuition, given the status quo, is significantly higher staying at the Shepherd Street location than consolidating on one location at the Abbey campus with the elimination of that debt. It's our intent to preserve that culture and climate, but in order to do that, we need to keep our tuition competitive compared to those other schools. Increased enrollment ceiling, mentioned that, has been discussed. Broadened base of appeal. What does that mean? The vast majority of those applicants, as well as our current students, which was highlighted on the demographics slide earlier with the map of Richmond and where our students hail from, our appeal is broadened because one of those other factors in many parents' decision is commute. And given that the vast majority of our students, close to 80%, live closer to the Abbey campus than they do to the current location of Benedictine on Shepherd Street, weighs in on many folks' decision on whether or not Benedictine is even a possibility for them in the future. A significant portion of our population, both of their parents work and need to in order to afford a private school tuition, and so commutes are relevant in their decision.